you are very clear about your purpose in life, I mean, do good can be a purpose, but you have to be more specific in terms of what's the good you are trying to achieve. Then, and if you align every action with that, it's easier. It's easier because somehow your mindset is very clear, and every effort is aligned with that. You don't spend time in various options, and you don't get lazy and so on, because you kind of know what you're doing.
Hi there, welcome back to a new episode of Activism Collectors Podcast. Through this project founded by European Solidarity Corps, we are trying to showcase the people which are making a real difference in their communities. We are also trying to promote volunteering and social cohesion through new technologies and projects. Welcome to a new episode of Activism Collectors. I'm Petra Codrina and I will be your host for today. And with me I have a very important guest for us, Radu Puchiu. And welcome, Radu.
Thank you for the invitation.
Just to have a smooth beginning, I will ask Radu, who are you? And how have you become the person you are today?
Well, since I'm very old, it's a long story, but I'll try to make it very short. I started I finished design school, so I'm a designer, although my life changed and moved me to an area that I haven't taught when I finished my university degree, and I was kind of passionate about two or three things. One is design, of course, but design in terms of finding solutions, looking for good solutions. But also, I found a very good ground to involve and to apply, if you want, even this design thinking in public sector. So somehow the two of them aligned. And how a designer become a public servant, it's a strange story, but once I was there, I was very impressed of the possibilities in terms of solving a lot of things. It's a lot of area. So I started my journey in public administration in 2003. I finished it in 2009, first chapter. Then I moved to the private sector. And then I moved again back in the government in 2012 and did this second chapter in the public service in 2017. So 11 years of public sector, probably more than that in private sector. So it's a mix of things I try to put together to learn very much from each one, applying this thing that I believe it's common, the design thinking area. So I'm still applying this design thinking in the private sector, design thinking in the public sector, and so on. So yeah, this is a story, but this is the common thread, if you want, in what I did. So I'm still passionate about design. I'm still doing design, even graphic design. But yeah, it's something that turns out to be a good hobby out of it. But once again, I applied it in many contexts I operated. And so this is my story.
And one of the contexts was the summit from NATO in 2008.
Yeah.
And you were their IT coordinator.
Yes.
May I ask you how did you get into that role?
Well, just quick few steps back in 2005, there was a change of the government, and I was there. I initially joined the government for a project of 6 months, and I was there when the government changed, and I found a good opportunity to propose something to the new head of the Chancellery, which was let's unite all the IT people in the government that were working independently in the Victoria Palace at that time, and create a new structure. This was the whole idea. It was very much embraced by the new head of the Chancellery in 2005, and he appointed me to unite these people under a new entity there. So we formed this directorate of IT in the Victoria Palace, and I was appointed head of this directorate. Although I didn't have like an IT background, I was working very much in the online business before. I coded myself. It's another passion. So I ended up in being the head of the IT in Victoria Palace. Of course, from that position, somehow it was very easy to be recruited by the new appointed state secretary in charge of coordinating the NATO summit. I mean, having quite a good profile there of what I saw in the Victoria Palace. So it was easier to say, okay, let's dedicate I need you to dedicate like 6 months for working with the NATO summit. I believe like what contributed to that was also the good relation I have and the good image I have in terms of public procurement. Now we were very transparent in terms of public procurement in technology in Victoria Palace. Also a good relationship with the business sector, but also with other entities like the ones who are dealing with infrastructure in IT infrastructure in Romania. Also a good knowledge of what's happening in terms of cyber attacks at that moment and so on. So I believe this profile was probably the reasons that they chose me for that position, for that role. But it was probably the most intense experience I had with the NATO summit. So I would write a book about it. There were 6 months, but 6 months to prepare 2 or 3 days for the summit, which was quite huge in terms of even IT perspective.
Yeah.
A lot of networks to put together, a lot of resources to put together. It was amazing. So for me it was a good opportunity to work for that. I was decorated for that contribution at the summit. It's part of the story, but it was a very good experience. But the reasons probably are behind being there in the Victoria Palace and taking care of the IT infrastructure.
That's so beautiful how you are telling us this. So I see that you are like so involved in public administration, in public sector, but also in civil society.
Yes.
So may I ask you if you have like some relevant activities in this field that you want to share with us?
Well, while I was in the government, I was champion, if you want, or being a champion for openness in the government. I mentioned the transparency in public procurement while I was in IT directorate in government, but after my return in 2012, I had the chance to work on this, was new at that time, the Open Government Partnership. And the Open Government Partnership proposed this idea of having a national action plan designed together with the civil society. Mm-hmm. So it was new to me. I mean, I wasn't working with civil society organizations before, but it was not an easy start. Everybody involved at that moment remembers that it wasn't easy. I mean, I was in government, and although I was very honest about my effort, I was still government and lack of trust and so on. But gradually we started working together. So I'm very passionate about the mechanism behind. So I feel it's very transformative. I believe it should be more and more present at all the levels of the public administration in terms of what can be done together. because you can build a lot of things with the civil society. You increase the trust because you are open to what's needed there, and also it's a kind of transparency that allows new ideas and new innovation to come into the government, and the government needs that very much. So I was very passionate about the Open Government Partnership. I led the national chapter of the Open Government Partnership in Romania. We were part of the steering committee, so between the 4 governments internationally that were part of this initiative, and I believe it was a good chance. We opened the data in that in 2003. The National Open Data Portal was launched. We were quite champions in terms of open data rankings. So it was a good moment. I was very passionate about it, and that passion probably was seen at the international level, and I'm now an Open Government Partnership envoy even today. From this position, we could call it a position, it's more of an honorific title, but in this position I encourage very much cities and men like Mișoara and Iași to join the Open Government Partnership, and they did.
Okay.
So yeah, it's part of the story. This is how I became very passionate about this mechanism.
Okay, that's so good. Because we did our research, we've seen on your LinkedIn page that almost 1 decade ago, you worked on something called the Social Media Handbook for the Romanian Public Administration. What was the project and how did it come to life?
We had several projects, and it's part of that conversation that I mentioned with the civil society. We felt like the public administration needs to be exposed more and more to new technologies, to new platforms, and so on. So we have this social media guide, if you want. We had the public procurement in the IT sector also. We have other guides in terms of open governance and so on, open data. So all of them were part of this idea of let's go through a learning process, but not be scared about new technology. Don't be scared about new things that are coming. Just learn how to use them. At that moment, I remember, and it's still present. So the guide somehow didn't reach every public administration.
Oh, that was like
but at that moment, I remember they opened an account on Facebook page, for example, or Twitter, or what was at that moment. But they just copied their press releases from the website and put it there. So we felt the need to explain that it's a new channel, it's a new voice needed there, new people to act, and this is probably the idea of the guide. But it was part of an effort of promoting this idea of openness, of transparency, if you want, and try to break down the barriers, like I'm very official and the people don't understand us. So speaking on the people's normal voice, not an official voice. In some places worked quite well. Ministry of Defense is still a good example of how they promote themselves and how do they tell what they're doing. They have a wonderful team there. But there are others that are not. So yeah, it's still a project.
So this is about the past. What about the present? So as well, on your LinkedIn page, we've seen that you have quite a few hats at the same time right now. So you are the director of the Technology and Society program at the Aspen Institute.
Yes.
You are part of the Open Governmental Envoy.
Mm-hmm.
And you are also the co-founder of 2 organizations. How do you manage all these roles at the same time, like in those times?
I don't think it's that hard.
No.
I don't want to look like it's very easy or something, but It's a little. I mean, I'm passionate about all of them, and I'm lucky, and I always said I'm lucky to do things that I love. So probably it's what I recommend to everybody. But if I'm looking back at the road, I don't think I had that lack of having only beautiful things on my plate. I still don't. But when you're passionate about it, I believe it's you working differently, and you try to overcome the challenges probably in a different way. At Aspen Institute, I'm leading this technology and society program indeed, and but it's very nice, and it's very much related with the idea of open government, if you want, because it still promotes the dialogue between all the parties, although I'm doing in a different format, in a different framework under Aspen Institute dialogues, but we try to bring together public sector, once again business sector, and also civil society, universities, and academia, and so on. So somehow they are connected between us. So the effort is not that big because it's something that I knew how to do it. So being an open government partnership envoy, it's pretty much, as I say, it's a honorific title. Although I'm very involved in that, and I still promote the open government partnership. But the experience there, it's easy to transfer it to formats like Aspen Institute or the H.appyCities associations, which are also led, which is also connected with how do we bridge the citizens with the mayor and the local administration. So they look different. They have a common story in terms of dialogue and what is needed. So probably that's why it's easier to do it.
With all those roles you have, what Radu Puchiu is doing on a basic day, like at home, when you have free time, how do you reconnect with yourself?
Well, I read a lot. That's for sure. I'm very big and I'm good subscriber to any newsletters and technology newsletters and innovation newsletters and so on. So I'm reading. I'm very passionate about this part. Also, I'm looking not only at technology and what's happening, and there are a lot of things happening, as you can see, but also what is the impact on society, what are the things that the technology are bringing, and so on. It's part of the conversation I led in Aspen Institute, but it's part of the, if you want, concern or preoccupation as a citizen, as a regular people. So I don't know how my regular day would look like. They're very different from one to another. Probably the common thing it's reading. Probably the common thing it's trying to understand better what's happening and build bridges. I believe build bridges or build relation. I believe it's a common. Sounds very generic, and I don't want to look like I'm avoiding the answer, but it's something that you do. I mean, you have to explain a little bit using social media or other channels, explain a little bit what's happening, to explain the future to others, to explain what's coming and how to be prepared for that. I'm trying to do that. Even for the public administration, I'm trying to do that in different formats. It's once again, I'm passionate about it, and I'm doing that. Also, I love to design. Once again, yes, I'm back in I'm still doing a lot of branding projects, small things, and I'm helping friends with a lot of design. But yeah, it's part of the passions I mentioned.
Oh my god! Oh my god! I see that you are speaking like with such good feeling, like. So I really enjoyed this conversation with you. About more serious stuff,
With your perspective over the years on society, technology, and developments, what are some of the obstacles you've noticed that still appear again and again in Romania, or maybe not just in Romania?
Generally, when you I believe it's a very deep cause, if you want, to what's happening at the level of society. It's the speed of innovation and the technology advancement, which is increasing very much, and the pace we were used as people to accept it, to be connected with what's happening. So I believe this is the major conflict at the level of society. The technology advances very, very much, and the people are not able to keep the pace with it. Meaning that we have technologies that appear and they are used by people, but we kind of use them without knowing what harm they can produce. So, because we don't have the time to test it or to regulate them or to it's like I was looking at some articles on electricity when they appear. Of course, there are a lot of fires because of the wires were not isolated, people get electrocuted and so on. There are a lot of, if you look at the newspaper, that area, but it was time to regulate everything and to work on that. Now the speed of new technologies didn't let us. So there will be a growing current in the society adverse to technology, adverse to advancement, adverse to modernity, what is seen as modern, and there will be growing flow of people going to something which is very solid, which is religion, which is something back to traditions, and you see it in the society. So you can explain on I don't know, in case of Romania, how being too European or European has its rules and we don't contribute to that. But the underlying cause is this desperate looking for people to look at a solid ground. And unfortunately, even the people in the sector, in the technology sector, in the economic sector, fail to explain to the regular people what's that mean, what is the good things that are coming for them. So this is probably one of the important causes in what technology brings to society. Although it's quite ironically, if you want, people who are complaining about technology, they are complaining on their mobile phones and on the social media. So, which is basically the technology that they bring, but still they are looking for something to be very secure, to be safe, if you want. So this not easy. It's not an easy subject at the level of society. But what we have to be the perfect storm, we have a leadership layer which doesn't understand technology, cannot explain technology because they don't understand technology to regular people. So it's easier for a leader in the political sphere to say, okay, it's let's go back to the roots, let's go back to traditions, let's go back to, because they answer to the fears of the people. So this growing number of populists, as they are called, although you can find very many nuances into that, they are related with that. So we have the perfect storm. Once again, technology advancement very, very fast. The technology advancement brings a lot of contrast on one hand, but also creates advantages for a lot of people, creates disadvantages for others. So this gap is increased, people tend to see, okay, but I'm not winning into that. I see that other people are winning, but I lost my job due to technology, and it's easy to amplify these fears. I will get fired. European Union will bring us, I don't know what. It's easy to amplify all of the fears with technology. On the other hand, it's very easy to promote good things with technology, but still we don't know how to do it. Once again, politicians don't understand and they cannot translate. Business sector is more preoccupied on profit and everyday business than to translate to society. Civil society organizations tend to be in a nowhere place. They don't understand technology very well. They try to help people, but they don't know how to do it. So I believe we'll be in this context and this mindset for many years from now. So yeah, it's not easy.
In Romania, to deal with the governmental obstacles, we have something called Open Governmental Partnership.
Yes.
Do you know what is this, and what role does it have in Romania?
Well, I started, as I said, in 2000. It started in 2011, actually, but in 2012, Romania proposed the first national action plan on that. Basically, it's a, let's say, a plan that is designed by civil society and government organizations, being ministries and so on, and it's like a commitment to the open government internationally proposed to, okay, Romania is doing that, and all of these initiatives from 70, I don't know, many countries, 70 something, I don't know exact number, so many countries around the world, they are gathering together and they're put on the Open Government Partnership website, and they know what is the progress, have they done. On the other hand, the civil society organization monitor the plan. So it's a contract between, if you want, civil society and the government, and the civil society is watching if the government is doing what they promised to do. In Romania, there were ups and downs. We started in 2012, and I believe we were quite good in advancing, not so ambitious, but more cautious in terms of promises. But lately, probably they're slowing down these efforts at the Romanian government levels. There are many reasons. Probably it's a fatigue, if you want, in terms of effort, but also it's a crisis of a little bit of leadership. They're doing good things in terms of organizing as a government around the idea. They have a dedicated group in the government working for that, which is good. They have very good people working on the subject, but still we are missing, if you want, from an international conversation, which is a pity because you have to be aligned with what's happening there.
Yeah.
So that's why we're probably less ambitious, and yeah, so it's a work in progress.
So, how is Romania doing in terms of technology adoption compared to different states?
Well, we have at the European level this Digital Economy and Society Index, which is quite relevant in terms of dimensions there. So they're looking at digital skills generally. So how the people in the country are good at using technology, but also in terms of connectivity, in terms of public sector services. So it's a broad look on how a country is doing. Romania is on the last or almost last, second to last position in Europe, so it's not doing very well. It's not, once again, it's not about that Romania doesn't advance. It advances, but slower than the other countries are doing. So we are in a increasing path, but slower than the others. So it's a reality. Now, what is strange is if you are in that position, you have to accelerate a lot of things. For example, basic digital skills. Romania has 20 something, 27 I believe, and the European target is for 2030 is 80% of the population to have basic digital skills. So we are 2030, let's be generous, and we have a 50% gap to fill in 5 years. Okay, and you expect as a citizen to see, okay, but this is something big, we need to invest in that, and we need to see it everywhere in terms of media, in terms of efforts, government efforts, that we are a national effort to educate digitally our people. But when you look to realities, nothing happens. So it's a disconnect. I don't know how to put it very politely. It's a very big gap between the promise and the efforts. So it's not once again that we're not doing a lot of European projects and so on, but this is not enough. This is something that needs to be at the society level as an effort. What I see us also as a disconnected between government efforts and civil society efforts. So how about bringing, because we talked about open government partnership, let's bring everybody together and say, okay, how can we exponentially increase the basic digital skills? And this is a very narrow chapter of the digital economy and society, but we are looking at that. Okay, let's solve this big thing. Doesn't happen. So I'm not very optimistic about it, but once again, we need to do something. If we don't do that, and it's a message for everybody who's watching us, if we don't do that, we will be disconnected from the digital economy, because we don't have people using technology, being in the labor market of a digital economy, and the country will lose in terms of competitivity, and this will transfer in terms of poverty. This is very simple as an equation, because other countries will grow, will be more competitive, will have more money, will get more money from the digital economy, and Romania will not do it. So this is the biggest challenge of Romania. It's not about digital skills, it's about being economically viable. So the choice we have in front of us is not about let's learn some digital. It's about being poor or not being poor. So it's that easy. If you explain that to regular people, look, you will not be able to work for long in that sector on that money, not having digital skills. So it's not about that I want you to lose your job or something like that. You're probably not, but you're not going to be paid as well as somebody else who's using the digital skills is going to be paid. It's that simple. Coming back to the 1980s, 1990s, 2200, if you don't work with a computer, you will be paid less than somebody who is using it. It's a different kind of job and so on. So it's the same now. The good part of it is, back in 2000, you need a lot of books and training to learn computer and programming and so on. Right now, you don't have to. You just need an ChatGPT or whatever you need and say, look, I want to learn this. What should I? And it's a natural language, and that will be easier to learn and operate. So we are very lucky to live in such a moment that everything is simplified in terms of interaction, in terms of how we get our information, how we get everything, still not using it. So it's a paradox of growth. But we have to explain the regular people that they have the tools they need to learn in order to be normal in terms of income, if you want.
Yes, because I've seen like in my generation as well that there are some people which are hesitating to use AI,
Yeah.
and sometimes as well I'm thinking we have these tools, we have the chance to use it, we can use it like in a good way. Uh, it's like,
Well, there is a debate.
Yeah.
There is a debate right now around AI as a tool.
yeah,
Uh, AI as a tool it's as neutral as everything, as every digital tool. It's a knife. You can use it to cut your bread, or you can use it to kill somebody. It's you have everything
perfect example.
on the plate. But it's not about that. It's about AI is an assistant. Now, even in the real life, I can have you as an assistant. Allow me to give this example.
I have a
Okay.
job.
But if I'm lazy, I will say I will trust you fully, and whatever you will tell me, I will do. Then what is my role? If I am just using AI to copy paste in another format, what is my role? So my human role will be to go through, to use my experience, to use my thinking, and to put it in a context. So I'm using the information. You are my assistant. You say, okay, these are the choices. This is you should do, and I put it under my knowledge and experience. And I said, okay, no, this is my decision. This is what I'm doing. It's the same with AI. It's absolutely the same with AI. We have a powerful tool that is not limited on your experience as an assistant, but with every assistant in the world. So they have all the knowledge in the world there. I can ask what is doing, but I cannot be that lazy to say, okay, I'm going to copy paste it in something else. So we have to do something different. It's a learning curve the way back. What should I ask my assistant? Because depending on the question, the answer will be different. If I'm asking you, for example, I'm giving this example as even in the public sector. If I'm asking you, give me a solution for this problem, you will go back, do your homework, and look at the solutions that were made, and you'll propose me some solutions. Is there any innovation here? No. Okay? Because you're looking what somebody else was doing, and because I place the responsibility on you, then you'll come with some reasonable solutions. If I'm changing the question and I'm saying, give me some options, that's a different story. You say, okay, I'm looking at everything that is possible, and I'm putting on your plate what I found interesting to do. Then it's a different kind of decision. Instead of having something that was already done, I'm having some innovation into that. So this is the role of the AI. This is the role of the assistant it being powered by AI. So it's a critical thinking that I'm applying. It's a different question that I'm trying to do, not to be lazy. Once again, the biggest challenge for your generation is not to be lazy. Everything in terms of technology pushes you to be lazy, to be a consumer of media, to be a consumer of platforms, rather than be challenged and look for an answer and quest and put some difficult problems and look to solve them. So normally, which happened every time, a lot of people will be lazy and some of them will not. Those will probably get paid more, win more, and so on. This is the story. But it's a generational problem as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe so. Because you're native in digital, you're different than my generation, for example, which took everything. I had to learn mechanical stuff to repair my car.
Yeah.
Then I have to learn computer. Then I have to learn internet. Then I have to learn AI. So I go through everything. You are digitally, okay? Yeah. You don't know how to fix a car mechanically, I'm sure of that. But you don't have to. That's the beauty of things. You don't have to, because it will be... Once again, you don't have the luxury, if I allowed here to be lazy. The only way I could learn when I was in university to learn from other examples was to go to the library, and I was limited to what is there in the library. I mean, what architecture books I have, what design books I have in the library. They were not all the library books in the world, and okay, right now I can access most everything online. So my contribution, what would be on that? I can try to copy or to be innovative on some limited examples. Now you have all the world information, so you have to be different. You have to have a different mindset. So this is why I'm saying about laziness in terms of that. It's very easy to do because you just search something, you got, okay, then I copy paste it. I ask ChatGPT, okay, how about give me an image of a new logo, and that's it, okay, let's give it to somebody else. You're not a dispatcher or not a, so once you realize that, you understand that what you can solve is not a simple problem but a more systemic problem. So you have the chance to work on a very large scale, which I did when I started my design. I could design for one client in Bucharest. I couldn't design for one client in even Cluj, for example. Why? Because it was difficult to exchange the information. How should I do it? Over the phone to explain a logo, or over a fax or a machine or whatever. It was difficult. Okay, then the internet appeared. Okay, we can exchange, so I can use this technology. But you can use all the world. I mean, you can be connected with everybody in the world. So it's not a limited market or a limited space that you are operating. It's the world you operate in. So it's a different mindset. Yeah. It's a challenge.
Yeah, so now I'm so motivated not to be lazy. Because sometimes all of us have those kind of moments. I really don't want to go for serious stuff, but I have a phenomenon to discuss with you. I'm really interested in your opinion. In November 2024, Romania has had a very eventful event. First round of presidential elections, after a very unexpected candidate winning in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you believe technology had a role in this case? And do you believe in the EU is paying more attention to the effects technology have had on society? Or this is like a special case we had right now?
It's not a special case. It's not a special case if you look at the technology as a whole. I mean, what I mentioned before, for example, that technology is giving you an advantage for the people who are not using technology. This is the kind of advantage that is. Everybody is looking at, if I'm I don't know, using a tool, using a computer, and you are using a better computer, you'll be probably a little bit more competitive than. Okay, so you can do, I don't know what calculation in 3 seconds, and I can do it in 1 second. Okay, but in people's mind, saying using technology is like this different. So if I have a campaign paid by the parties in the media and so on, then I have an advantage. And if I'm using the social media, I'll probably have no. The difference is it's exponential. So in an exponential scale, if the next step you do, it's double than the previous. So two steps from that, you'll have a 4 times difference. And if you go, it's even more. So people don't understand exponential. So in face of such a moment, of course they were prepared. Of course the technology played a role. But for people that knew what the impact of technology would be. Now, people who know what the impact of technology can be, once again, can be used for good, can be used for harm, and in this case, I believe it was used to disrupt, not necessarily to place a candidate or another, to be very honest behind, because what we saw now looking back at what's happened, there are a lot of pages that were very neutral in terms of content. I mean, promoting I don't know, plants, some beauty advices and so on. They were there, so they were created before just to be used at the moment. We don't know what moment. Yeah, and at a particular moment they said, okay, let's move everything to this electoral process. So one page that was dedicated to the beauty of nature, for example, suddenly became let's support this candidate. If you are looking from the outside and see, okay, there's a one page doing that, it's fine. But if you see hundreds of pages doing that, that's something that is organized.
Suspicious, yeah.
No, it's organized. Now, on the other hand, people don't understand that. So I'm on a group with dedicated to the, I don't know, mothers who are gardening. Okay, so I'm in a group. I found it quite interesting because people are sharing information there, articles and so on. Okay, and suddenly, so I'm used to that group.
And they
okay?
have trust in you.
You have trust in that, and you kind of you find common passions and so on. So you share that information. You like, you dislike, you get angry, you comment and so on. But you are engaged in that group, and suddenly the group is saying, okay, this is the presidential candidate that we support, and say, and you see thousands of likes on that, and see, okay, so everybody in my group, even my people I'm interacting with, are supporting a candidate. So, yeah, let's do that. People change their mind in the last days, and it's seen in the polls. So, yeah, it's a powerful tool. But for the ones who are looking at that and talking about that, if you're looking, there are a lot of people saying, look, these tools can be used like this, but nobody listens, once again. And we're going back to the political level, that don't understand technology.
Yes.
And we're going to the people's understanding that technology is going to be a little bit more than that. No, it's going to be disruptive. And this is a very good example how technology can be used to be disruptive. Can we be more prepared? I don't. I'm coming back to what I described. 20% of digital skills. 20% of digital skills, that means that you are exposed to information you don't understand. Yeah? Because you cannot judge what is coming. You don't know how a phishing campaign is working. You don't know how fake news are working. So we have right now quite a number of pages that are promoting Romania, and there's a lady in that with having 6 fingers, you saw it. Okay, so people don't know. There are a lot of people sharing that. There are a lot of people saying that. So yeah, this is the environment we work in. Okay, for enemy looking at this, it's easy to do it because we're not prepared.
Yeah.
Because we're still thinking that the wars are done in the very conventional way. We expect, I don't know, tanks to be at the border or somebody, and the fear of war. No, we are in a war, but we cannot say it's a war. We are in a war with ourselves, that's for sure.
In your opinion, what are specific policies or initiatives the EU should be promoting right now to escape this dangerous file somehow?
There are two things very deep that needs to be solved. One is the trust, and it's very difficult challenge in terms of what's needed. You need to go back to the roots of what's trustful, and what is a trustful person, group, government, and so on. So you can go at any scale you want, but it's a very powerful conversation that we need to have in the society about who do we trust and why. And the other policy that probably should be more than a policy, it's about the discussion about technology, not regulating technology, but preparing people for using technology, for understanding the risk. The European Union focus very much on let's regulate everything. I don't think it's a winning ticket. Okay, you can regulate, but you are going into a war with different tools. So it's not about people who are using technology. So the technology will be there, even if you want, even if you don't. AI tools which can provide a lot of harm can do it. On the other hand, it's very difficult to demonstrate, because even at the European level, but at the international level, there are platforms, okay? And once we decided that the platforms are not responsible for the content, which is right now, which I believe fundamentally needs to change, then you need to accept the fact that you cannot regulate that, because the platform is neutral. If you accept the platform is neutral, then you cannot say, okay, let's regulate.
Yeah.
Okay, so where should I intervene? On one hand, saying no, the platform shouldn't be neutral. They should do something in terms of filtering content, and the way they are getting money is wrong. It's a very tough conversation on that. On the other hand, let's prepare people like it's happened. We cannot regulate it tomorrow, but let's prepare people tomorrow. So explaining a little bit more, what are the consequences, what are the facts that are happening, how are they exposed to information, how do they change their mind, change their decisions and so on based on social media, which is not necessarily good for them. Once they understand, they'll be more critical about what's happening. So blindly trusting the platforms is not the way forward. But what should we put in place of that? Do we have a conversation at the society level? I don't think so. This is probably the things that needs to be addressed at the European level, at the Romania level, if you want, or any country level, because it's going to be harmful and harmful. The other way is the American way. Okay, let it happen.
Oh yeah.
Let's see what's going to be, and okay, we'll see. Well, okay, everything will be broken. We'll build again. Will probably be better. Can be. I don't know.
Okay, those two examples of America and EU, it's like super good.
It's fine.
Yeah. And from all the experiences you had, what are the most important lessons you've learned?
Ooh, hard to say.
Don't give up.
Yeah, well.
Don't be lazy.
I would go for it's one thing that is very deep in even in what I'm doing, and not completely, but I believe it's one thing. If you are very clear about your purpose in life, I mean, do good can be purpose, but you have to be more specific in terms of what's the good you are trying to achieve. Then, and if you align every action with that, it's easier. It's easier because somehow your mindset is very clear, and every effort is aligned with that. You don't spend time in various options, and you don't get lazy and so on, because you kind of know what you're doing. So looking back, probably I would be very happy to know what I want when I was in my 20s, like you.
Oh, it's so hard to say.
Yeah, I know, because it's
a
time of the experiencing a lot of things, but I would give the world to know what I wanted there. Now I know, but I don't have the time.
Yeah.
When I was 20. So, yeah, probably it's a learning curve. It's an advice that I'm doing. Look, if you find your North Star, just go for it, and that's it. On the other hand, what I mentioned before, and this is how I should end it in an optimistic mode, you have the world of resources to do it, which I didn't. I'm looking back, I don't know, many years ago. I'm not going to say how much, but I was limited to the geography, to the place I was born, to the environment I was operating in. Now you have the world, so don't lose that because it's so powerful, and you can change not only few people around you but many. So be ambitious.
And because we are closing to the end, do you have some advices like how we can find out as young generation what we like, what we don't like? Because we are now in technology era, we are staying on our phones, speaking on our mobiles. What we should experience, what we should do, like to understand what we want to do in the future.
You have something I didn't admire at your age, for example, the possibility to connect instantly with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something you take it as a given, so it's there. You don't understand the power of it until you lose your phone, and but it's something very powerful. I mean, being able to, if you are trying to get to Elon Musk to talk about something, you can. I know it's not easy, it's not going to happen tomorrow and so on, but you have the chance to be relevant
to try
and to get there if you want. If that's the model, I don't know. If you have a different model, but it's easier. The gap between, you can reach every people. They were saying in my there were 7 degrees, to reach everybody.
Yeah.
Now it's closer. It's 6. It was probably is going to be 5. So you're 5 people away or 4 people away from anybody in the world.
Oh yeah.
So once you realize that, you say, okay, that is not about my limited energy and effort to do something, but probably if I want to, abolish poverty, big goals, there are probably thousands or million people who are trying to do the same thing. How about connecting them? So it's so powerful, you have it there. I didn't, so I'm looking at it very differently now.
Thank you so much, Radu,
No,
for this conversation. I learned something by myself, and I hope someone who is watching us
hope so.
took some important stuff from here.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Anytime, my pleasure. Thank you.
Așa. Mâna.